So, hey everyone, I'm going to share my screen for a quick introduction about why we did this project. Oh, my face is all green now. So how come we did this redesign? It started, if you remember, it started back in early 2022. We got the new guidelines, which were great, and they included this new custom font called Zodiac Sans, which was great too. But Zodiac only has one weight, and we realized that only one weight was a bit restrictive compared to what we were used to before Zodiac Sans. So we felt the need for a stronger version, such as an extra bold or a black version of the font, so that we could tell things even louder on banners, for example. And conveniently, the Zodiac Sans is an open source font. So the idea is to enable anyone to build upon it and to push it further. So in March 2022, we asked the type design studio, Typomorpho, which is composed of Perrine and Francois that are here with us. We asked them if they could help us with this need, and they were up for it. So we were very, very happy. And all we needed then was to find some money, which was not an easy task, even with the incredible help of Elaine. It took a little while, so the project was kind of paused until we found some funding. Meanwhile, in July, there was a presentation of Planet 4 of the design, and at that time, the Zodiac Sans was not chosen for the templates because it did not meet the requirements of accessibility. The main problem was that titles on the pages need to be displayed in lower cases for legibility reasons, and because screen readers softwares for visually impaired people don't work with full capital titles. So lower cases, and unfortunately, Zodiac Sans is especially made for use in capital letters, and it's not legible enough in lowercase. That's mainly because those lower cases are too condensed. The counter shapes are very small, and also the X height is quite small. But that's a shame, because that was too bad, because we really liked the spirit and the personality of Zodiac Sans, so we were a bit sad. But we discussed, and we decided that instead of buying another font, instead of Zodiac Sans, we would use the money to improve Zodiac's legibility to be more web friendly. And that was making us very happy, because one, we could stay in line with our visual identity, and we could have our fonts on the websites, and also our money problem was solved, which was a good thing. So we called Typomorpho back, and we explained the evolution of our requests. So instead of creating an extra bold version, for example, we would first rethink Zodiac Sans to meet web requirements. So our new request was having something robust and legible. By this, I mean something improve the versatility of it, so that we could use it for titles, subtitles, short text, buttons, etc. So it becomes more handy. Also fix the spacing to letter spacing to adapt it to the way we read on the web, and also able to solid enough to bear differences of display from a browser to another. We also needed to improve legibility with the decondense or denarrow the lower cases a bit. It's not about making a very different font, it's to fix small details. many of them. We needed to solve the counter shape problems that were too small, lessen a bit the X height. All the diacriticals, which are the accents, which we use a lot in French, but not only, were enormous, which was not very convenient. And the overall consistency needed to be improved also. Some characters were a bit weird looking. And all this without losing the spirits of Zodiac Sans, which we really like. So it was not going to be a full display font anymore. In a way, the usage was different, a bit different, both web usage especially. And since the usage was different, the font was kind of a new font based on Zodiac Sans. And this is why we thought that we should change the name, because also it would be easier to avoid confusion between the fonts. And we chose Greenpeace Sans. Well, I saw your face, Lena. Well, first because it's fun to have a font named Greenpeace, and also because it's easy to remember. It would make people, because it's not only used for only made for designers, so people, since it's an open source, people in their softwares would be more willing to use Greenpeace than something else. We hope, at least. So that's it for the introduction and the name. And now I let Francois and Perrine from the Typomorpho Studio show you what it looks like and how it works. So I'm stopping the screen share.
Okay, so thanks, Sylvain, for the presentation of the overall context. So I will share my screen. Okay, so before introducing all the type design features and stuff, I was just to quickly present you what will be the pack you will probably soon receive, all the people from the Greenpeace community. So you will get a folder with the Greenpeace Sans, with the fonts both exported for print and web. So the classic OpenType OTF font and WOV2 compressed web font. And in the documentation, you will get a nice PDF specimen that will be like the heart of my presentation, to explain you and to try to transmit how to use this font. So, yep. Can you see it? Everybody can see it full screen? Yep. Should be okay. Yeah. So here we go. So this is Greenpeace Sans. So it's a complete redesign of the Zodiac Sans in a way that we extended also partly the character set. So it's mainly Latin extended and Cyrillic. Greek is lacking at the moment, but maybe it would be a future addition. And I will maybe spoil a bit, like next presentation from Usam, that will dive into web design and front-end integration details. Basically, yeah, we all know as graphic designer that lowercase are more readable and legible than titling in full uppercase. So the main, like you see in the brief that was repeated by Sylvain, that it was the main idea, like to be able to build legible short sentences with these fonts, and to have a decent robustness of the lowercase. So at the moment, the font is implemented in the new system for all the titlings, from the big things to the small buttons. So just spoiling a few images to give you an idea, and Usam will go into details with all the fonts, different hierarchy, and the other fonts which are pairing with the new Greenpeace Sans. So yeah, basically the whole idea of the design process was to maintain kind of dual use of the font. So there is this new web use, and also to maintain this traditional Greenpeace use of banners. So it can be printed or painted banners, but also digital banners on the different websites or social network. So basically, we enlarged the lowercase of about a bit more than 30%, so between 45 or a bit more percent. So we enlarge, we increase the counter shapes and the eye of the lowercase, but we maintain the condensed character of the uppercase, not to lose this kind of display use that is already largely integrated into the Greenpeace habits in graphic design with poster and so on. So the design process was kind of tricky because it was finding the right balance between these legibility issues and new use and maintaining this display character. So that's what we tried. So we are covering like many, we are covering 222 languages. We have like a bit more than 1,200 glyphs, signs inside this font. So basically we decondense the font. So it's still a condensed font, with screen legibility for the web in mind, but there is also some remains of this display character. We have been also adding many symbols, an arrow set, etc. So I will so yep. It's jumped 2 page. So it's a straight grotesque, like pretty condensed font, like easygoing titling, and I will jump in some details. We also have been cleaning like many details, like for example, the stroke ending in the Zodiac Sans, they were like lacking consistency. There were like some problems. The A was not cut like the C and the E and so on. So we try to reveal the true spirit of the existing font by eliminating small inconsistency and building a visual continuity. So it was like cleaning out the whole thing to have everything perfect. And also there were like alignments problem. So that there were like many small stuff. So we tried to fix as much as possible. We have been also adding all style figures, many ligatures, and so on. So I will explain the details. So coming back full page, sorry. So here all the accents, all the diacritics. We've been adding ornaments, the arrows, some circled numbers, numerators and denominators. We have been completing like many signs that were lacking. And also we have been building different system of diacritics. So to maintain this titling use, we have been drawing normal accent and compact accent for tight titlings, for small interline spacing. So we tried to think both readability and to increase the compactness, the possible compactness of the titles. And I will focus a bit on this page, so you will all get this PDF. We have here what we call stylistic sets. So stylistic sets is the way to replace signs and to have kind of dynamic replacement automatically inside the font when you choose the stylistic set. So it's not changing one sign, it can be one sign or changing a whole group of signs. So we have an alternate G, but here we have like the stylistic set number 2, we have, this is the compact accent. And also we have an alternate set number 3, which is about E that has this small oblique ending that was part of the design process, and then we eliminated, but we were still loving it, so we kept it as an alternate. And then you have the stylistic set 4, is the same compact accent game, but with the cut E and F and associated signs. So you have this available. And you have also a different system of punctuation. So we maintain the punctuation, this kind of classical, let's say, serif, or more text-oriented punctuation that everybody like because it's expressive and so on. But also we built an alternate set of punctuation that match more with the grotesque, the sans serif nature, true nature of the font. We have been adding some fancy asterisks and stars and so on, different small details and alternate signs about the paragraph and so on. And all these fancy details, because most of the people think that all these, what we call these open type features, are only made for graphic designer and the print world and the Adobe world. So today, this morning, I will try to put some emphasis to say to you, like, all these fancy detailed typographical function are really easy to implement on the web today. And with the OpenType features and with what we call the font feature settings that you can integrate into your CSS, into your web code, it's really easy to have the same precision, the same variation than someone on InDesign or Illustrator or doing some video on Adobe Premiere. So all this is working in consistency. Like you can build a style sheet on InDesign or on your front-end web design. It will be the same function with the same name. Everything is the same. So in here on this page, you have this. We build this tip, this kind of usage tip. About how to implement the OpenType features. So you can use, and we have been working with Magali and Maud also on the front end to transmit all these variation possibility that you can play around. So it's still one font for everybody that everybody can use. You still have this common identity, but you can play around with small details. So you can activate some functions like ligature, discretionary ligatures, like, for example, here SS1 means stylistic set 1, which is the alternate lowercase g, and then you can activate it. So it's really easy to play around with it, even if you are a web developer. Most of the time, the web developers think that all this fancy stuff is not for them. So I really want to push you to use the whole all these functions that are in the font. And the tip number 2, if you are more print and graphic designer, in InDesign, you can activate your glyph palette. Inside the glyph palette, you can deactivate the Unicode for CID and GID, which means that it will respect the glyph order we chose for you. So most of the time when you go in the glyph palette, it's always messy, signs everywhere, and you don't know where the things are. And here we just put everything, first all the caps, then all the lowercase, and then the accent, and then all the arrows, and then all. So we have been like cleaning out and ordering visually, logically, all this, and you will have to go through all the signs. So that was the 2 tips I want to talk about. So basically, we have been cleaning by hand, redrawing by vector drawing all signs. So we changed the nature of every curve. Everything is smoother, larger. We remove also some details to increase the crispy. We have been adding some drawing details like this, like some ink traps, like we say in type design, and we have been cleaning the whole thing. So it's the same font and it's not the same font. It's like the same font that reveal itself its true nature. That was a bit the idea about the design process. And then you get different pages that shows how to use the different stylistic sets. So you get this more humanistic calligraphic kind of G. And then here you have the compact accent. Here you have the difference with the regular E and F and the one which is cut at the end of the upper horizontal bar. And then you have the same stylistic set with the compact accent. So here, maybe the most important things is the punctuation. You see like this maybe more modern way of drawing and a more logical punctuation, but we keep as default the original one, so it's up to you. You can really play around with this feature. And here, this is maybe more for the graphic designer guys. Here it's an example about how tight, how condensed, how compact you can use the accent. So for example, the acute and EQ and all that is stick inside the letter, and you can go with another, you can have an interline spacing that is smaller than the font size. So you can really go really small. So this is an example for the digital and printed banner. So this is back on the lowercase and legibility questions. Some signs we have been redrawing and adding. And here, this is maybe the part that needs a bit more explanation, because we have been adding here some info about letter spacing. So when you use the font, both on the web or in print, if you use it like really big, like I don't know, 48 points or 60 points on the web, for example, like as big title on the main page, you can reduce letter spacing, but you have to be careful. You have to know a bit what to do. So the idea here is to show you how the font can behave with a smaller spacing. But on the regular size, you're not touching anything. So you can use the font by default. It worked perfectly. We have been doing many tests in print, in screen, and so on. So here it's to show you that if you feel confident enough, you can play around with spacing, but in big size. Please don't touch spacing for texts or small titles or buttons or small scale use. So we are detailing this for both for different languages with different type size and so on. We have been showing here. We have also what we call case sensitive punctuation. So for example, here les guillemets, on dit en français, I think the word is the same in English, the quotes, sorry. These kind of quotes, they have different aids. If you use it for the caps, it has a different aid to be able to match with the caps better. So here you have the default one that are more, because the font, the primary use of the font is the lowercase and readability is here, and then we have like, so you can activate this case sensitive stuff. It's really easy on both web and stuff, and you have it. So many examples, you will go through it through the PDF calmly. Some details about the redrawing of the Cyrillic. So we have been cleaning all inside small spaces that they were like rounded also inside. That was blurring a bit too much the font. So now the font is more crispy. That's why also it's more legible on screen. And we kept this roundness on the external endings. So same stuff for the Cyrillic. And here on these last pages, the font, the primary use of the font is titling. But we've been working that if you want to use it as a text, you can do it. Like you can set up short paragraph with this font, you know, like even if it's still a quite condensed font, we have been working carefully with the spacing, and you can I don't know, do a 20-line text with the Greenpeace sounds without any problems. So here, for example, you have this small detail. So you have what we call in the typographical slang all style figures. So numbers the old way. So it's numbers that are working with lowercase ascenders and descenders. So it's a kind of feature you only find for text fonts, for example. You can have it in the source serif, or you can have it in. So usually it's more a feature you will find for text font. But we have been integrating it into the font. So don't be shy. You can really use this titling font even for short text. And here, just show you how you can play around with typographical hierarchy inside a dense paragraph using the small dots and ornament signs we have been designing and so on. So there is many small playful details that you can access. And Sylvain will demonstrate like all this also is automatically displayed in InDesign or Illustrator, and Sylvain will show you in a few minutes how to do it. So that's it. That's the final, let's say, the back cover, the last page of the PDF that shows here, even in French, this very compact accent. So the rule was we have been designing compact accent for all languages except Vietnamese, because Vietnamese, you have this double accent on top of it. So it was impossible to build something also that compressed. But it's how to say? I think it's versatile enough for most of the languages, and we are covering like many situations. So that's it. You will receive this whole pack for everybody in a few days, thanks to Sylvain and Magali. And I hope you will enjoy using the green pistons. So we jump to the web now. I'm okay, or we do some question, or we'll do everything at the end?
Yes, thanks so much, François. We just had a question from Mari first, like, will other language characters be added, in particular East Asian languages? So, yeah, I don't know, Sylvain or François.
Well, it's not yet planned, but anyone can do it since it's an open source font. And also, it's not yet planned also because, but maybe you'll say this, Perrine or François, because you need to know very well those languages to work with them. And I'm not sure you're familiar enough with those. So maybe
it depends on the language system we are talking about. Like adding, for example, Korean, it's okay. It's not that much science, but if you start to jump into Chinese, it's a big number of glyph. So it's a matter of means and a matter of time. So it's up to you guys.
Thanks. And Svilena, you also have a question. Is there? Yeah, please go ahead.
I thought that you were waiting for me to jump in. First of all, amazing work. This looks great. I wondered if this was just missing from the presentation, but I didn't spot it with the line of the numbers, the 0 with the circled background. So I wonder if that's just not in the presentation.
You mean the circle stuff, or the alternate 0 that we use for coding, for example?
The circle.
The circle one.
Yeah.
We didn't draw the circle 0 with a 0.
So there's
but
no
we can put it, but it's true that we didn't draw it at the moment.
Yeah, we can quickly update it, or maybe we draw. No, maybe we draw it, but maybe we forgot it to put it in the. Maybe it's not in the PDF, but I'm pretty sure it's in the font. We have to check.
Thank you.
Thank you for spotting this. And like don't hesitate in this first use. If you spot details, like just maybe like get in touch with Sylvain, and we will, because the character set, the character map is rather big, so there is always a small miss. So report it to Sylvain, please.
Thanks. Any other questions? All right, let's move on to the next presentation, which is about like how to apply this font to the web interface and more specifically to Planet 4 websites. So Wissam, the floor is yours.
Yep, thanks, Mag. I'll share my screen. Okay, can you see my screen?
Yeah.
Yeah. So in this presentation, we will show how we applied the 3 new typefaces to the Planet 4 pages. So the Planet 4 typography system will use the serif and the sans serif typefaces, and each with different sizes for text content. So for our serif typeface, we will use the Source Serif Pro. And for our sans serif typefaces, we will use the Greenpeace Sans and the Source Sans 3. And starting with the Source Serif Pro, this is going to be our default body text. And we will use it mainly for long sections of text, for block descriptions, and for short paragraphs. And there will be 2 variants of the body text sizes on desktop, XXL and XL, to improve content hierarchy. So in this example of the columns block, we used the paragraph XL for the block description, and we used the paragraph M for the content underneath. And we should avoid using the Source Serif Pro for text smaller than 16 pixels to ensure minimum readability. Moving on to the Greenpeace Sans, the Greenpeace Sans will be used mainly for headings, button text, standalone links, and navigation menu links. This is an example of the new header design. We will use this typeface for the links inside the navigation menu bar. We can see also the typeface is applied to the button text of the donate button and the primary call to action button. And the last typeface is the Source Sans 3. We will use it for the links inside the footer, for example, the drop-down menu items, and for short paragraphs and cases where smaller text is required. And also, we will be using a line height that is divisible by 4 for all of our text, which will make the math easy and help reduce the guesswork for designers and developers. Also, it gives a more granular results, especially when we need to accommodate more space within the components. For example, in this card, we used a line height of 20 pixels for the description text, so that we can have we can add more lines to the paragraph and have more space within. Also, for the typography scales, well, most of our text is going to be responsive on all screen sizes. So the headings from H1 to H5 and the paragraph XL for the Source Serif Pro are responsive and will adapt at different breakpoints, whereas the heading H6 and the paragraphs M and the Source Serif Pro and the paragraph M and the Source Sans 3, also paragraph S and XS, will remain the same regardless of the breakpoint to ensure minimum readability. And these are examples of the demo pages. I can paste in the chat the demo page. Control V, let me copy the link, sorry. Maybe I'll paste it when we finish the meeting, the call. So starting with the body, we applied the Greenpeace Sans to the heading 1 of the post page. And we recommend using the heading 1 once per page, or to shoot out on something. We use the Source Sans 3 for the breadcrumbs and for the meta information. We used also the Greenpeace Sans to all of our heading chunks in the long paragraphs. The Source the source serif pro applied to the long section of text. Also, the source sans-serif applied to the caption of the images. Source sans-serif also applied to the small text in the take action box out block. So we can see mainly the Greenpeace sans is applied to all of the headings on the page, also the articles block, also for the tag buttons and the secondary buttons. And this is another example of the high-level topic page where we applied also the 3 typefaces. The source serif pro applied to the short and long paragraphs. And also the source sans-serif applied to the footer links and also to the country selector block. So, yep, that's pretty much it. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Sam. Any questions for Hussam or the Planet 4 team? Yes, Milena?
I'm very curious, when is that taking place? Is it in the next sprint or just an approximate time? Very excited about that.
Yeah. Well, Nikos, would you like to answer this question maybe?
Well, we are working on a new visual identity in the current sprint, but it's we're still focusing on colors at the moment. So fonts is going to be the next iteration.
Thank you. Looking forward to that.
Yeah, so hopefully early Q2. All right, Sylvain, I think you can go next.
Yep, thank you. So now I'm going to show you a few examples of the fonts used on print and social media. So we already used it to test it. It was the beta version, but it was very close to the final one. Those are banners used in Brest for deep sea mining campaign a few days ago. You can see already the accent, the compact accent that was quite handy, quite convenient here. That one was hand painted, and it works quite well. I think it was very nice to use. You can see it here on the title on the flyer, and this is work sans. I think we could have put this in Greenpeace sans, but we'll still had previous habits. This will change. Those are posters for the energy waste campaign, and it is both in capital and lowercase display. The alternate G, the new G. So you can see that it's quite legible. This is a mock-up for a mailing, fundraising mailing about industrial farming. Here, the line spacing is very tight, and the compact accent comes very handy. You can see it used big size, small size, as a big figure, and also in lowercase, and it works along with a bit of work sans here and there. So you can see that globally it works pretty well. That's a header of mailing of a letter, also caps and lowercase. And this is a carousel on Instagram with the new arrows. Once again, we use the compact accent to have it fit in this shape. And now I'll show you very quickly in InDesign how it works and how handy it is. So that's an example of a banner. And if I want to, for example, here the problem would be that if I type C here, it becomes almost a cedilla, which is not what I want. It becomes almost like this sign. So to avoid this, I can just do this for one sign, for example, individually, and select this, and it's very quick and very convenient. But if I want to do this for the whole text, I can just have my block, text block, go to the character and then open type features and then stylistic sets, and it's the second one, and all the accents go down. Same for the accents, the commas, no, not the accent, the commas and the quotes. If I think that those are too delicate for banners, if I want to be a bit more bold on banners, I can use the stylistic set. Oh, sorry, number 5, and then it becomes a bit more hard. What can I show you? Well, that would be the same with an acute. So same here. Number 5, yeah, and the commas and the acute. And one last thing was, well, if you don't know what to say, but you're still angry, so you just type this, and the G, we had a new G which is a bit more readable, but the other one we still liked it, so you can change it this way or back this way, or you can, if you have many G's, of course you can use the stylistic set to make it easier. Yep, this way. So I guess that's it. So yeah, I think I've been through everything I wanted to show you. So do you have any questions now? And anyone?
Jonathan?
I'm not sure if you would be able to answer, but we have